purple beaks.
Uh-huh.
So something like this thing. And then you have the teeth. Something like that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks
So anyways, that's the gist. Took me 2 hours to explain that. It's insane. It's retarded. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Jesus. Oh, now we gotta explain a book to Yikers. So Jacques, me and Jacques have been talking lately. Um, I said, he said, bro, between starting meditating again, heartbreak, and going hard at Muay Thai for a couple days, I feel low key psychotic or fluid again. It comes in waves occasionally, especially. I get glimpses of that familiar feeling coming through, genuine human interaction, like talking to my mom after a few months felt like it opened my heart back up, and I could feel passion again. I've also started thinking about the shadow self and just remembering everything that happened the last couple of years and trying to connect threads so I can strengthen the crest and neutralize the troughs. Yo, we back. And I said, same thing here, no time, but that spark is finally back. I just need a couple hours to sit down and refine, glimpses of the best I've felt in months, maybe years. And he says, life feels real again, bro. And I said, ha 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 ha. And he says bipolar motherfuckers, which is hilarious because I didn't tell him I got a bipolar diagnosis. I'm sure that's
That's
one he's
funny.
got, but um, and he said,
And
no, I don't know. I think, what are you gonna say?
he said he was doing Muay Thai for a few days.
Yeah. He said synchronicities are starting to hit too. And I said, this is one. Every time the story updates or the framework updates, in parentheses, they are now the same thing. You always text out of the blue like you have a fucking radar built in your head. It's up to the point where my other cousin Ryan, who doesn't even believe in syncy, says it's bizarre. I don't know whether we are tied to each other or tied to a greater momentum. Trevor's the same bizarre timing as though he has an internal clock that makes our manic seasons sync. Strange stuff. Synchronicities are so gay, mad motherfucking annoying. And he says, our period synced. Which is hilarious. I literally typed that and then deleted it. Which I talk about in here. I say, them bitches can only be controlled when you understand that they cannot be controlled. Intelligible explanation. The only time synchronicities ever seem to align with my goals is when I do not attempt to control them and instead just attempt to align with wherever they are going. Any words the ego speaks about their meanings is muddled with subjectivity. The words that take credit for the discoveries are not the part of the brain which makes them, so why ask the words what to do next? And then I said, ha ha. I typed that and then deleted it. And he said, no way, bro. And I said, you read that off my mind, motherfucker. He said, what the fuck, bro? Someone better give me some cool ass armor and a sword soon. Which is such a hilarious jock thing to say. I love shit like that. Um, I said, yeah, if I don't get enchantment soon, I'm gonna be pissed. He said, gotta walk home. I said, them bitches can only be controlled when you understand they cannot be that. He's referencing that one. And then I said, this is where, or he says, this is where every one of my psychotic breaks has descended into selfish egoism. Isn't it the same time of year too? We should call soon. I've been actively trying to limit the commentary in my head. I notice I'll just spew nonsensical jokes and speeches that are opposed to who I am, that cover whatever's below. Just a couple good meditation sessions in the woods really set me. One moment birth the next, so cool. I said it's where mind devolve into manic lows. I never go psychotic, but I have months where I praise false idols. I have some bookmark, some image in my head of where I'm supposed to be, some time or feeling that is where I'm trying to get to, some framework that is rotted from the inside out, and yet I cling to it because my ego to run means another defeat. One more abandoned framework means another loss of time, another failure to create anything objectively meaningful. For months, I'm consumed with sickening, violent hate until finally it gets so unbearable I realize the goal was never to escape the misery, never to outrun it. If you attempt to rip it off, it will just eat you faster. It's like quicksand. Instead, you must consume the high points that you crave for months. The longing were not devoid of misery, but fueled by it. Or the high points that you craved for the months of longing were not devoid of misery, but fueled by it. The misery became beautiful, not replaced but converted, not eviscerated, repurposed, only by understanding that misery itself is merely another lever which must be utilized to achieve beauty, another facet of the greater will reaching through you as you towards the be. Oh, Jesus, I wrote this really complicated. I wrote this like fucking Nietzsche, um, without punctualization, so you can't fucking read it. Another facet of the greater will reaching through you as you towards those goddamn gorgeous moments of clarity. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims it as when the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims its discovery claims it as its discovery. I'm just going to say claims the discovery as its own. You inevitably delve back into the sea of despair. Give up on building a boat, retard. Just ride the current. Go beneath the waves and words and cease to be cast around aimlessly. Become aligned with the water and riptides. Jesus, I'm reading this horrifically. It's not surprising. I'm ridiculously tired, but still. Okay. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims my God. When the ego's silly, suffocating whispers distort the clarity and claims the discovery as its own, you inevitably delve back into the sea of despair. Give up on building a boat, retard. Just ride the current. Go beneath the waves and words and cease to be cast around aimlessly. Become aligned with the water, and riptides become slingshots, and whirlpools become wormholes to the bottom of the ocean. There, where chaos compacts upon itself, crushing immensity, continuously compounding and congealing until it ultimately reduces into silence and stillness. In a place like this, movement is so effortless and inexhaustible you can't see how the direction you were going in ever mattered so much in the first place. And then I start responding back to what he was saying. Absolutely ass fuck hilarious. You say it's this time of year. This is the first time me and Trevor realize it's always October. And yes, many such cases. The chatter loves to fill my mind with meaningless slop, ever teetering on the edge of entertaining, just far enough away to make me grasp and fall, only to land 3 hours later. The more often you can step back from the tiny talking tard trapped in the skull, the better. Sadly, he loves to yap. And yes, we need to call before next week. Text me Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Anyways, um, he said, "Bet the chatterbox is the devil or the shadow." I don't know. Beautifully written, relatable. I'm not sure I agree with it all. That night, he says he fumbled the bag with some baddie. He said, um, "I was so weak and unwilling to be a man. I lost this beautiful woman that loved me when I was nothing." Man, his romance adventures. And so the part of that I thought was important was him saying the chatterbox is the devil because that's like of the classic Jacques mistake. So I said, be warned, the nature of the chatterbox is to attempt to draw a line between devil and angel when in reality it's all just code and both are merely daemons. The voice who speaks of separates is rarely the one who knows why they are distinct. The devil exists as the unexamined aspects of identification. Through misinterpretation, good intentions become vile actions. It is easy to cast stones at evil people, but usually the ones casting stones do the most harm. The one who sifts beneath the sands at the bottom of the sea does not see difference between the devil and me. The devil will come to you screaming about Satan so that you will rush to commit his misdeeds before you can ask him why you should. I thought that was pretty based. Um, and of course, Jacques replies with, "I would say I believe in genuine evil." Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. Just contemplating Jock.
You betcha. Um, he says, "I noticed a lot of egoic simulations ran during / after I got the spiritual high today. Like I started turning people I loved evil." Well, classic Jacques. Also, last year I got out of that depression by going manic. True. Um, and then yeah, I think that's it. That's all the important stuff.
So yeah, sounds like he's somewhat manic. And is the Muay Thai you mentioned he did some kind of martial arts before, but now he said he's only been doing it for a few days. Has he always been
Well,
doing it?
Muay Thai is different. I'm assuming more. He means he's been regularly going to Muay Thai practice, which is different than what he's doing before, which was like jujitsu and shit like that. Just like going to like MMA or whatever. Um, but also he said a few good Muay Thai practices, so I'm assuming he's been in it for like a month and he's finally getting to the point where it's like sparring regularly.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
cool.
you betcha. But so that's interesting. We need to call him soon. I was supposed to spend today getting the fucking story done, so we can talk about it. The mindset I just spent 8 hours explaining biology to myself, and then another
If anyone has any questions in chat, we got that covered.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is like if anyone's gonna try and say like there's a plot hole, I'm gonna be like, no, the fuck there is not. Me and my Adderall, we sat around and made sure that there's a biological like explanation for literally every single thing. But my favorite part about that creature is the fact that like all the things tie into it. Like the why do the teeth pierce the skin? Well, because the skin is inflatable. Why is the skin inflatable? To prevent the acid from touching the joints and to store the acid in the stomach. Well, why do the teeth why are there spikes over every joint? If Why are there spikes over every joint but not the teeth joints? Well, the teeth joints don't have spikes because the teeth cover the teeth joints because the spikes would prevent mobility. Why does everywhere else have spikes? Well, everywhere else has spikes to cover the joints. Why are the crystals not covering everywhere if they're so powerful? Well, because the crystals being exposed means that they can be exposed to acid, which means that they can be shattered, which is bad. Well, then why are the crystals exposed in the first place? Well, the crystals are exposed so that they can cover the joints, because the joints are the point at which the crystals regrow. So it's like every single point of the biology leads into another point of the biology. There's nothing that was like it was created to look cool. It's like it looks cool, it feels awesome, it feels realistic, but then none of it was built to do that. Like all of it was built simply to just make sense biologically. And then as a byproduct of that, you got this like entity which is looks and like for war purposes is going to be fucking insane. Like I was thinking, Trevor, like imagine just like one of the action scenes where like this guy's fighting like a mechanical cockroach, and then he takes like his front. Oh, by the way, I never explained the arm folding. Yeah, the arms do fold in. It's pretty just like